welcome in. Hey, it's me, Pugs Moran. This is the Pillow Talk edition, the second of two streams that I do each and every day here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. This one is Pugs and Parker proudly presents Pillow Talk. Hold on, I just got a tweet as I was sorry. Hold on. Give me 1 second, folks. Here's the thing. I was just signing on at 9 o'clock, hit it. I was ready to go. And James sent me a text that said, wait for me to start. You heard it right. Just as the show kicked in. Hey, Byron. Hey, Jeff. Just as the show kicked in. Did you hear the bing? Hey, John. John's in San Diego. Oh, I bet it's nice out there. I don't know what he wants me to wait for. He says, wait for me to start. I'm like, you sent that at 9:01. All right. This is the second of two streams that I do each and every day. The first stream is called High Noon. That comes on at noon. That's all topics, current events, headlines, hot topics, whatever it is that people are. This is going to drive me absolutely nuts. There is like a, 1/4 of a second delay between me doing it here and then seeing it on the camera. So it's like, it's irritating. I'll get past it. I'll rise above it. I'm a professional to some extent. I don't know. I think that means bad. I think that means bad connection today. Look, like my lips are still moving. It's going to drive me insane. I just hope this is all right when James connects. James is going to be along just in a second. Barely, Jeff. I know, barely professional. All right, I'm going to take this time. I'm going to have myself a drink. Apparently, James is working up something special. He got a little special guest, and he's tirelessly working behind the scenes. I got to reach my black whiskey. Next to my picture of Jeff Glenn. Yeah, Jeff Glenn sent me a picture. I put it up. Send me pictures. I'll put your pictures up. Well, how do you send pictures, right? And how did Jeff know where to send it? What's up with that? That's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that Jeff knew my address. I mean, I appreciate it. But I'm not worried about Jeff. I don't know. James is sending me all kinds of stuff. Like does he not realize that he is now 4 minutes late for the show? Had to pour myself a little bit of the Don Michael Black Whiskey, proud sponsor of Mansplaining, my new pet project. That's how I'm going to put my kid through school. You just watch. That is if he doesn't get an athletic scholarship, which I'm really starting to think might be a thing. I mean, like, I never thought that there would be anybody with my bloodline that would get an athletic scholarship, but I don't know, I guess he's pretty good at football. He's pretty good as an offensive lineman, and he's really big. So who knows? We'll see how that goes. But that is entirely from his mom's genetic pool, not mine. I was the much loved guy on the bench. I was very, very loved. He's actually, turns out he's good, but his mom's quite the athlete too. Anyway, mansplaining how I'm going to put my kid through college should he not get a college scholarship. He got hurt yesterday. He didn't go to the game yesterday because I had to do trivia night. He got hurt. I wasn't there. I mean, not badly hurt, but got his bell rung pretty good. He claims he was targeted. Mom watched it happen, said, he just got caught off guard. He just got his head banged a little bit. Oh, yeah. This is my first experience with my kid getting a what do they call it? His bell rung, a slobber knocker type thing. And he had to come out. Link, play. What are you talking about? James, I sent you a link. Oh, this guy is killing me. Good Lord. So I'm sorry, folks, I'm telling you this fascinating story. I don't know what he's doing.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? It's like I sent you a link.
You sent me a link to bees for 12 damn hours.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now it makes sense. All right. No worries. Here you go. All right. Here's your new link. And by the way, just as I was saying, all right, everybody, at 9:01, you send me a text that says, wait.
Well, did you want to link in my stuff? You want to start this over?
No. What do you mean link in your stuff?
I don't get the link in my channels. They don't get. It doesn't stream to my stuff in real time if I'm not in the broadcast before it starts.
I don't know what you're asking me. I don't know what you're. I don't know what you're asking me.
Don't worry about it.
All right. All right. Did you get the new link? All right. I don't know what. I don't speak that language. We're just talking about LinkedIn stuff. What are we doing here? We do this show every night. We never have a problem with it. Why is it more difficult now? I don't know. That's him. Anyway, Mansplaining, the show that I do on weekends with Dr. Robert Schwartz. It's Loveline. It's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. That's what we want it to sound like. That is the format that we are attempting to replicate. We're on Friday night this week. I'm very nervous about that. They've given us a primetime showcase just for they're very supportive. I do appreciate that about that station. That new station 91.7 97 what is it 97.1 The Freak. I should know that because I'm on it. Man, there's a vibe. I was up there this afternoon. I had some meetings up there, and I have honestly never been in a radio station that was personality driven. And every station I've ever worked at was a personality station. I've never worked at a music station. I mean, save for a couple of years when I was young in my career, I went and worked in alternative radio. But I've always worked at radio talk stations with very big talk personalities. And there's always been an asshole. There's always been some kind of a bad mood. There's always been somebody they got to look out for. And I'm telling you, they're doing something over there. They got a great vibe over there. Everybody loves each other. I saw Jeff Kavanaugh was sitting in with Mike Reiner today. The morning guy coming back to hang out with the afternoon guy. Unheard of. That doesn't happen. That's not a normal thing. I'm telling you, the vibe over there is so good. Ladies and gentlemen, please bring into... Okay, and he's not even there.
Give me a second.
Are you there?
Well, I mean, I'm here in spirit, but just not in camera.
Why can't we see you in the camera?
It's coming.
Okay. I was just telling people, James, and you could probably chime in on this as well. I spent the afternoon over there at 97.1 The Freak, and I was commenting how at every radio station I've ever worked at, and every station I've worked at is pretty much, big personalities stations. It's not music stations. It's big money, rich, powerful, influential talk guys. There has always been at least some kind of a bad mojo, some kind of a bad vibe. And I was like, man, this station, 97.1 The Freak, they've got good vibes over there. And one of the things that I used to sort of as an example for this was today's entire afternoon show. Did I lose him? I'm kind of talking to him. He just dropped off. All right. Never mind, James. Never mind. I was going to get your take on it, but okay. So we're waiting on James to get here. He's got something going on. I don't know what it is. Hey, Aaron. Look, Aaron's in the chat room. Oh, boy. All right. I mean, here's the predicament. All right, let's play question and answer time. Go ahead. Anybody got any questions in the chat room? I'd be happy to answer them. I am an open book as we wait for James. James has something planned tonight. Can you tell? He's got something going on here. Does he need another link now, or will that same link work? That same link will probably work. Is he going to be dressed in a clown suit? Is that what's going to happen when he comes back? And aren't you excited? Aren't you excited? I'm really intrigued as to what's going to happen next year with James. All right, Byron, come on. Then if you have questions, don't just say, oh, I have questions. It doesn't help me. Nobody cares. This is such an exercise in futility. I'm just going to sit here and drink. You guys want to just sit here and watch me drink? I would love to start a topic. I got plenty of topics. I got topics about bees. That's why James said that I accidentally sent him a sound effect of bees. I've got topics about, what else do I have? Oh, man, I got a politician who got caught whacking it in front of a child daycare center. That's a good story. I don't want to start any of these stories, though, because... Excuse me. Oh, he's restarting his computer. I don't know what that's about. It's only going to take a second. I don't want to start any of these stories because I'm not going to be able to give him justice. I'm not going to be able to really get into him the way I want to get into him. He's just going to... Jeff Ballard says, Halloween show, you two better be in costume. I don't do costumes for Halloween. I know. It's like, oh, what are you too cool for it? No, that's not it at all. It's just I have never in my life been a big Halloween guy. Even when I'm a kid. Let's go back to when I'm a kid. When I was a kid, I was always on a football team, so I just wear my football uniform. That's it. I'm a football player. Give me candy. I was never one of these kids that really was like, "What are you going to be for Halloween?" It wasn't. It wasn't my thing. I know a lot of kids are into it. My kid's into it. My kid is like starts thinking about his Halloween costume, couple of months out, where he's, but not me. That was never a thing. So I'll put a little something on you, maybe if you want, but then I gotta go buy something. I can't do that. Yeah, it's not really. It's funny for a guy who just sits here for 2 hours a day at noon and just speaks extemporaneously. You'd think I'd be able to fill time better than this. But again, to reiterate, I don't want to start something and then have him pop in and go, okay. So I was gonna ask for questions. If nobody's got any questions, nobody gives a shit. At what point do I just go fuck it and do a different show? There's things we can talk about. You know what I did do today after we did the noon show? I had a bunch of meetings, and I was in my car going from a couple of different places, and I decided to listen to the Anna Faris podcast. We had talked about this earlier on the High Noon show. Anna Faris did an interview with Lena Dunham. Not a fan. Anyway, she did an interview with Lena Dunham where she basically just, she accused Ivan Reitman, the legendary film producer, director, writer, of doing some, basically she was trying to call him out. She's like, here's what she said. She said, "Can I speak ill of the dead?" It was like that whole thing. And then she went into this like story about how, what a monster, what a tyrant. She called him a tyrant he was. So, because we had talked about it during the afternoon show, the High Noon show, I wanted to listen to the podcast. I wanted to see, okay, is this being reported in a way that is making it seem worse than what it actually was? Because I like Anna Faris. I really do. And not Lena Dunham, though. And I was really taken aback by how petty she seemed and how weird it was that she called a man a tyrant and then described the things that he did. And they weren't in the least bit tyrannical. They were... One was questionable. He slapped her ass. Okay, he slapped her ass. Is that as bad as grabbing her ass? Is that as bad? I don't know. Let's not go there. Let's not have that conversation. But I wanted to listen to the entire podcast just so I could get a better idea of what it was that she was talking about. Context being key to just about any sort of thing. And, the media does have a reputation for kind of taking things, blowing them out of proportion. So I wanted to have my own best judgment about this story because I felt I went a little bit hard on Anna Faris. So I listened to the podcast, and guess what? I didn't go hard enough. She is completely off her rocker. I hate Anna Faris now. She is a moron. The way she said it, you should have heard the tones. Well, you can find her podcast. I don't know what it's called. Anna Faris has something to say or something like that. What was it called? Let me find it here. She was ridiculous. First of all, Lena Dunham and Anna Faris were sitting there having this conversation in a number of different ways. They suggested that they knew more about comedy than Ivan Reitman. She said, I walk on the set and, nobody's smiling. Everybody's upset. Is this how he thinks he's going to make a comedy? They're talking about Ivan Reitman. But as if Lena Dunham and Anna Faris know more about how to do a comedy film than Ivan Reitman. All right, so let's talk about what Ivan Reitman has done. Starting in 1976, Meatballs, legendary comedy. All right, here it comes. See, I got into something, and now look at us. Now we're interrupted because I got into something. James, you sit there in the corner. Stripes. He doesn't know. Does he think he's going to be able to do is this how he thinks comedies get made? This man invented how comedies get made. Stripes, Ghostbusters, Legal Eagles, Twins, Ghostbusters 2, Kindergarten Cop, Dave Jr., Father's Day, 6 Days, 7 Nights. And these are all just the ones, My Super Ex-Girlfriend, Draft Day. These are all just the films that he directed. How about as producer? We can go to Animal House. We can go to Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, Space Jam, Private Parts, Up in the Air Again, Hitchcock. Let's go with executive producer, ones that he executive. Remember, this man doesn't know how to do comedy in the eyes of Lena Dunham and Anna Faris. Does he think this is how comedies get made? This fucker wrote the book on how comedies get made. Let's see here. As executive producer, Beethoven second. Okay, these aren't great. Road Trip, Old School, Euro Trip, Disturbia, Hotel for Dogs, I Love You Man, Space Jam, whatever. I mean, but go back to, once again, the stuff that he's directed. Please. All right. So I listened to the entire podcast and I feel completely comfortable with the way I laid into them. Ladies and gentlemen, James Parker, the other half of Pugs and Parker and Pillow Talk. How are you, my friend?
I better just had to overcome some technical difficulties. My apologies.
Man, we've all been there. No need to apologize. Are you familiar with the story that I'm talking about here?
I am not. Were you defending the honor of Harold Ramis?
No, I was defending the honor of Ivan Reitman,
Okay.
Who died in February, and Anna Faris had Lena Dunham on her podcast, and they're basically trying to Me Too the corpse of Ivan Reitman because she says that it was the worst film experience of my life. It's the only director that I didn't have. I mean, it was ridiculous. She was young. The film was My Super Ex-Girlfriend, and her main complaints were this. She was 25 minutes to the set, and he said to her, she wanted to cry, James. She was humiliated and she wanted to cry. He said to her, this doesn't play here. Anna, what's wrong with you? And she wanted to cry, James. He ranted at her. He made her feel so small. And then, just to be fair, he apparently slapped her on the ass before a scene. He said, okay, let's go. And he slapped her on the ass while she was on. But that's more because he's 65 and he doesn't know that and by the way, back in 2006, when this happened, you know what Anna Faris's response to what was being slapped on the ass?
Thank you.
She giggled. Oh, come on, man. But she was terrified. She says she was terrified. Truly, that was my first day, and Ivan thinks that I'm some kind of a diva that's not coming out of my trailer. It's like, well, you were late. You were late, okay? Maybe there was a reason behind you being late. That's fine. The reason that she said was that her costume got some glue spilled on it. But maybe maybe Ivan Reitman has been dealing with pretentious little actresses his entire career, and he's just all out of excuses. You were 25 minutes late to a set. The one thing I know about showbiz is that they take being on time extremely important because time is money.
Man, I was doing a morning show when that whole Me Too thing started, and you don't believe I got some blowback for my opinions on it, because I was like, look, everything those guys did, they're predators, and what they did is wrong. And I'm not defending them or, reducing that or anything. But one of the other things we are learning from the Me Too movement is there's no shortage of women who will just happily give themselves over on the casting couch for fame and fortune. And I'm not really surprised at that, but it has now been confirmed that, all you A-list actresses, you all, I don't want to say sold your soul to the devil, but you didn't get there by, the most moralistic of terms or whatever. I don't know, because I'm not judging them for doing it. I'm just kind of pointing out that, wow, sure are a lot of girls who are willing to do the casting couch for a career.
I just think that you degrade the women who have been victimized by real monsters who are out there. There are real monsters.
How do you do that? Because not all of them that went to the casting couch are victimized. Some of them went willingly.
No, I'm not talking about the casting couch. I'm talking about the people like Brett Ratner, who's been accused of some incredibly heinous things with making girls do things for extra jobs and then not following through. I mean, there are real scumbag pieces of garbage out there. There are, and they need to be called out for it. But when you start to try and get clicks for your own Instagram account or your own, my own story, and then the story is something that is so not in the same league with women who have honestly been victimized, it degrades the ability to call to count the people who are actually the predators. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, so I agree with all that. So this Lena Dunham stuff doesn't fly in your world.
Well, it's not necessarily. Lena Dunham was just the guest on this show, but this was Anna Faris's podcast, and this was Anna Faris's story. I just don't like Lena Dunham. She rubs me the wrong way. She seems incredibly egotistical, arrogant, and anytime somebody who has an accomplished dick in the business suddenly thinks because they have one hit that they are the sage of all time, it bothers me, and she rubs me that way. She thinks a little too highly of herself. And God love her, she's got her audience good. We should all be so lucky as to find our audience. But I don't have to particularly enjoy her. And thank you, Leslie. Thank you for saying that you agree. I agree with you as well. The slap is out of line, and the slap is probably a completely different thing. But in the context of this story that Anna Faris told about the recently departed Ivan Reitman, who was wildly beloved by all accounts, this is the first time anybody's ever came out and talked shit on Ivan Reitman. The slap was almost like an afterthought to her. She just really wanted to talk about how she was terrorized by the tyrannical behavior when she was 25 minutes late to set.
I don't know. I don't see. I don't slap anyone's
What is
ass.
that? That's a terrible thing to say. Leslie, Pugs doesn't like her because she's not pretty.
Has to reduce you because you have a nuanced argument, and she didn't want to think that hard.
Yeah, that's fucking
Look
uncool,
at her other comment. James, would you suck a D for a part in a movie? No, but 24-year-old James definitely would have had sex with a willing woman who was probably, like the female equivalent of Harvey Weinstein. If there was some woman named Susan who was like 58 and divorced, and she's like, if you come over here and show me a good time, I'll give you the pot. I would have done it.
Without a doubt.
Thank you very much.
But again, those are apples and oranges because the sexual power dynamic is different between men and women. It just is.
But no, look, I'm not shocked that there's also women who think, wow, that's all I got to do, and I get to be up here in these big movies. That's great.
Have you ever seen how many porn stars there are? Have you ever gone to a porn directory and seen how many women are willing to do porn?
The crazy part is that there's that many of them.
We are not talking about there only being 5,000 porn stars. There's millions of porn stars, millions of women who are willing to do this for sex. Why do we first of all, James, you and I think are a little different on this. I don't understand why we hang this big moral compass around sexuality. Sex is fun. Have sex if you want to have fun. Why is someone who sleeps their way into a job somehow bad? I don't think that's bad. Now, if the boss says the only way you get the job is if you sleep with me, yeah, that's a problem. But what about women who seduce men for jobs?
God bless.
What about a man that was never going to make that, terrible decision to be that predatory type? What happens when that guy gets seduced by a young actress who wants a bigger role? Don't pretend like that doesn't happen all the time. See Marilyn Monroe. That's how Marilyn Monroe became a star. She slept with everybody. And today in 2022, the rebranding of Marilyn Monroe is that she was an icon for the Me Too movement. And that's just absolute bullshit.
That she really did just sleep with all the directors and stuff?
Yes. Everybody. She was a massively promiscuous woman. And I don't have a problem with that. As I just said, if I call you a whore, it's not going to be pejoratively. It's going to be because look at you, you whore. I don't attach any sort of crazy moral litmus test to a person's sexuality. I never have. So, and I'm not a big sex guy. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't see it as this, bellwether on one's morality.
I like that story. You want to try calling Jennifer now? Is this a good time to do that?
Yeah. Now tell people what you're doing here. Is this your this is your special thing? Sorry, the whiskey's causing my voice to go a little weird. Excuse me. Go ahead, James.
All right. So apparently I grew up with a lot of people who have had interesting lives. And we're going to start featuring more and more of these because we've told some of the stories, but now we're actually going to call one of the people from my weird little hometown that has produced so many interesting people. This is Jennifer.
You've spoken about her before.
Yeah. So Jennifer is up there. She may be the person that has the second most arrests out of my friend list. She says she's been arrested to the order of like 20 times in Smith County. And so it's like, wow, you breaking it down by county. That's kind of special. So talking to her though, she has some pretty interesting arguments to make about the flaws in the criminal justice system around here and how it's sort of like this endless feedback loop. And
What has she done? What has she been dragged into the criminal justice system for, where she has discovered these flaws?
that's why we're bringing her in, because I'd rather just have her tell you than me say, here's what I heard and saw on TV. And
Okay.
yeah.
Reports and all that stuff. All right, I'm about to dial. What are the chances she picks up?
I had a exchange with her on Facebook Messenger. She chimes in. She might be watching the show right now.
Oh, good. Okay.
And she did say she did ask if we were doing trivia again tonight.
Oh, look,
Yeah,
isn't that
yesterday.
great? Oh, good. So she's a regular. I like her already.
Mhm.
All right, here we go.
Yes, this is the Walmart woman. Not your first. Not your lead.
Hi, is this Jennifer?
It is.
Well, hi, Jennifer. James? Jennifer, James. I'm Pugs, Jennifer. So nice to meet you. James?
Hey,
Nice
how
to
you
meet
doing?
you. I'm just hanging out. What are you guys doing?
A show calling you.
A
First
show
off,
calling me.
so Jeff is asking if this is the Walmart woman. So since they're going to go ahead and ambush you, I'll go ahead and lay it out. I had heard about the Walmart incident, and you had allegedly stole like $2,000 worth of wine. You go look. Hang on. Let me finish. Let me finish. You go look on the story, and there's a correction where there was a typo in the police report where they forgot to put the decimal in there. So you really sold $24 worth of something or other.
I didn't steal anything at all.
Okay, well but still, it's comical how easily these stories can get blown way out of proportion because some deputy or some officer working on a data entry job forgot to put a decimal in some long number on a report, and all of a sudden, stories get fabricated wholly from that. So
right. Well, that actually was mortifying. Yes, they did say I stole $2,000 worth of wine, but you will find on my record I have no theft charges. Actually, they had not put my wine in my bag, and I went back 2 days in a row. And I was just going to take my wine with my receipt out since they kept telling me, because I went back Saturday past the time they could sell, and then Sunday around the times they don't sell. And I was being difficult. I was just going to take my wine. So actually, I was arrested for not having my driver's license on my person. And it turned into me stealing $2,000 worth of wine, which I'm guessing would be a couple buggies full at Walmart, since the most expensive thing of wine I think is $20.
Yeah,
it'd be a lot of wine.
It's a lot of wine. I don't know how exactly I would have gotten $2,000 worth of wine, but yeah, I was on election day news for that. So, and I was on the radio too. It was mortifying.
Let me ask you this, Jennifer. So you said there is no
I was never charged with theft.
Okay, so
I
there's
didn't steal anything.
no theft on your record.
No.
What is your record? Do you have a record?
I do have a record. I have no felonies.
Okay, yeah. That's what is on the record? What kind of misdemeanors are we looking at?
I have assault causing bodily injury when I was 25, resisting arrest, resisting transportation. And then in 2009, when I came back from grad school, I started being randomly charged with felonies. I didn't know. I'd been gone for 7 years. And when I went to get my license renewed, I had been charged with filing a false police report. And so I turned myself in, got a lawyer. That got dismissed. And then within a month, they charged me with forgery. And that was dismissed. I had to get a lawyer and bail myself out. And you have to understand, at that time, I was forced to resign from Rose State Hospital, have my doctorate in psychology. And you can't work for the state of Texas and be being charged by the state of Texas at the same time. And so I was forced to resign while this was occurring. And the third charge was insurance fraud. And I have never, you can call my insurance companies. They have never charged me with insurance fraud. I've never committed insurance fraud, but my lawyer told me that someone was after me. And I mean, it was the same cop that was doing all of these. And I've recently requested my police reports because I want to look into it some more. But the same cop was doing this over and over again. And my lawyer informed me that if I didn't take one of the charges, and I was running out of money, I was already up to 5,000 every time I bailed out, plus 5,000 per felony with lawyers. So we're talking about 30 grand already.
Okay,
And,
so let me just stop you here for a second.
Yeah.
There was a lot there, a lot to unpack. But first of all, this is the same arresting officer in every case?
Yes.
How many times has
And
this
I was
one dude
on
arrested you?
the one official has been at least 5 times.
How many times have you been arrested total?
More than 13.
All by the same guy?
No.
Of course not, because that would really. But I mean, look, nobody. So, but the bulk of your charges seem to be suggesting that there is some form of harassment going on the part of this one police officer. Do you know this police officer?
Yes.
So you do. What is your background with this police officer?
He actually had arrested my brother on several occasions, and he came to get my brother from my grandfather's house with no warrant, and he beat up my grandfather, who was an elderly Baptist preacher. My grandfather died within a couple of months of that from this beating, and we actually had a case against him in Smith County where my brother was testifying, and these officers were, in trouble for this, and then my brother passed away within 6 months.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss, James.
It's that same officer.
Where
did
you have a relationship with this officer before any of that?
Before my brother's relationship with him? No.
Personal relationship with this officer?
No.
Okay. It's all been law enforcement related.
What do you think this is about? He has just decided that you are someone that he's going to target, or is there something else?
I think that officers are human beings, and yes, I think that not just in Smith County, but I would imagine everywhere, and there are good and bad cops, and I think, sometimes somebody gets a hankering for you, and they can mess with you because they're misusing their authority, they're misusing, their official status.
Okay, so that explains 6 of the arrests. What are the other 7?
Let's see. Oh, I was actually handcuffed to a chair when I went to go renew my license. I made Officer Rhetoric mad, and he charged me after I'd been waiting in the DPS office for 6 hours. He charged me with disorderly conduct and public intoxication.
In the driver's license facility, you were accused of being intoxicated.
Yes, okay. Even though I had been there for over 4 hours on film. Yes.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: any drug charges? Jeff.
No.
Yeah. No drug charges.
No.
Okay.
How about this? Did I catch in there that you have a PhD in something?
I have a PsyD, a doctorate in psychology.
So what's your training to do?
Clinical psychology. I'm a clinician.
So you're a psychologist?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So you are a doctor. So you are Dr. Jennifer.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Look at that. That's pretty impressive. James, follow-ups?
What do you do for work now?
I do massage therapy.
Ooh, okay. I have sidebar questions. I have sidebar questions on that for later, but please continue. So you're doing massage therapy.
In this town, it's really difficult to do clinical psychology as far as if you're not working for the government or something. Like I said, I had to resign from Rush State Hospital.
Well, it seems to me that if you had a doctorate in psychology, I mean, that's kind of, let's move on to the big city. There's anywhere you can move to take a job, and
right. And as soon as I'm allowed to leave the county again, I might do that.
Oh, I got you. You're right. Okay. Because of these legal issues, they are stopping you from being able to, because that's a very nice education that you have there. And that's an important job. And
which is why I've taken the first charge that I took. Okay. The next one after those 3 that I was telling you when I resigned, the third one that came up, that my lawyer told me I needed to take a charge or they're going to keep charging me, was insurance fraud. Okay. And this is something that happens all over the world, okay, where people are being forced to take pleas. Because if I go to jury trial, he said, I already have, which all I had was a misdemeanor on my record, but it's going to be looked at poorly if you go to a jury and you have a jury of your peers. And these cops are saying you did something and you're saying you didn't. And you're going to risk having a felony on your record, and then you'll never get to practice in psychology again. You'll never get to get, license or whatever. I can't have a felony on my record. And so I took a plea deal or a charge that I never committed.
James?
What does a clinical psychologist even do?
Well, mostly what I've done, psychological evaluations, IQ tests, psychometrics, stuff like that.
You psychoanalyze yourself? What do you think your problems are?
Oh, well, see, now you got to understand, James. Psychological evaluations are just as accurate as going and getting an ultrasound or an x-ray of your heart or what have you. And you score these tests and you put them all together. What we're doing is testing behavior. It's hard to score behavior. It's more of a subjective thing, but it's very, very accurate. But you actually give tests to do it.
I got to push back on that just a little bit. As somebody who spent the better part of 20 years in therapy and who suffers from manic depression, I don't think that's necessarily true. That a psychological evaluation is as
as accurate as
an ultrasound. Yeah, because psychological evaluations are almost all built on theory. We can't see into a brain.
Psychological evaluation, a full one, even has your IQ test in it. And an IQ test is objective; it's not subjective. And the tests that I've done, like Rorschach and the PIA and all the ones that I do, I'm telling you, the way that they're scored, they're standardized tests, and the accuracy is pretty impressive. I don't just go in somewhere and talk to somebody and go, "Hey, I think
So do you talk to like the Hannibal Lecters of the world for your career, and then maybe they like seep some craziness into your head, and then it got out in the real world?
I mean, I guess that could be possible.
Because I've known you since we were like, what, 6?
Yes. I was just thinking of you in your Stars uniform.
Yep. Yeah, we were on the same soccer team for a season. So tell us the crucial piece of the story that people don't know yet is the story of your brother. Can you encapsulate that in like 2 minutes?
The story of my brother?
Yeah. Because he seems to be the impetus that kicked all this off and part of this bad relationship with this.
When I was in high school, I had made straight A's, as James knows. I never even went to the principal's office, so it's not like I'm this hardened criminal or anything. But my brother was a troublemaker, like a mischievous boy, and he got into some trouble. I think he has some like theft, like stole a radio out of a truck or something when he was like 16. Anyways, he had several charges. They stacked them and charged him as an adult when he was 18. But at this time, when he got out, everything was on probation or all this. We would have cops sitting outside of our house, even in their normal vehicles, just stalking him. We would get pulled over for crazy things, which I had more of a mouth in because I'd never been in trouble. But he was absolutely harassed. And then my brother was in a motorcycle wreck in 2002, which is right after they brought those officers to trial. And the only cop that was there had been in our house without a warrant. And the 911 call was lost. There's some suspicious things surrounding his death that I'm sure will never be proven. And so that he had a way of making people remember him in the justice system here. So they know who he is for sure.
Well, James, you told me that you had an interesting conversation about her take on the criminal justice system, or the adjudication of these misdemeanors. So I'd like to hear some of that.
So since you've been in and out and seen the process, so thoroughly, what do you think could fix some of this? What are the fixes to the problems that you've seen besides just firing like this one bad officer? Is there systemic
Well, it's
things?
not just one. But James, I think that something to do with there's no bond regulations in Texas. I do know that. And so, like the last time I was arrested, my bond was $250,000, which I just saw recently. A murderer was released for $100,000. Not too long ago. And so it's like they sit these outrageous bonds. Over 700 of the inmates that are in Smith County right now are pretrial offenders. What they're doing now is when they release people out on bond, the court is setting these regulations for these people have to go do UA once, twice, 3 times, sometimes 4 times a month downtown on Line Street. And if they fail the UA, they're put back in jail and their bond increases. Well, the stipulations apparently, and you got to, they're pretty. I don't know. A lot of people are failing them, failing the bond, regulations that the court is setting, and that's outside of their bondsman. This pretrial stipulation that's going on in Smith County is hardly done. I don't know of any other place that's done.
Why would they want to
the way
do that
they're doing
though?
it.
Why would they want to keep you? That's expensive for them, and it's a pain in the butt, and they'd
They
rather
make
get.
money on us. It's really, I mean, they make money on us.
They don't
I
spend
don't
money on
disagree with
you?
her, James. There are ways that they make money, especially off poor people. Poor people
They're
get
even farm. Yes, it's a recidivism is ridiculous with the poor people, and a lot of them are indigent. They have court-appointed attorneys. They're already considered guilty, and what they do is they keep you in there. You can't bond out, and you're in there waiting for James. Right now, some of these people are in there without a conviction of any kind over a
Right,
year.
right. No.
So when they
So
finally
look,
get to court, they just plea out.
it's kind of rare to get someone like I'm not trying to reduce you, but a smart person that goes through the criminal justice system this much.
Yes, you're right. The
How do
average
you
has a
fix
fourth
it?
grade level education.
I know. How do you fix it? What can we
I
do
don't
to fix
know.
it?
There's got to be. I think I think the world needs to know about what's going on. A lot of people, if you're not in the situation, why would you even pay attention to it? The people that this is happening to are indigent. They don't have family. There's no one in the outside world to do anything. They don't know how to complain or anything like that. And so no one ever pays attention to it. I think it would be the right advocate, the right person, not just me because I have a criminal past. And the average person is going to tend to believe that since I have a criminal past, that well, you shouldn't have gotten in trouble. But the thing is, a lot of the charges that I've been accused of, I never committed, and a lot of them have gone to the news, and I've never done it.
well, a lot of the things, at least from hearing you tell it, that you've been handcuffed for have been because of your behavior, because of your mouth, right? Because you've talked
More than
back.
likely, yes. I do not
Yeah.
like for you to know your rights.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely, that is
okay. So
Listen,
but
I've
there's,
been to the
but there's
DMV a
got
lot.
to be hold on. There's got to be some degree of personal accountability for you on that part, right? Like you understand,
Yes.
man, I shouldn't have mouthed off like that. I need to
Well, I
learn
have
how to.
never disrespected or cursed an officer or anything like that. Because I do, however, say, am I being detained and ask different questions.
Yeah.
And the way that when men are in authority, especially around here, females, that have intellect and voice it, it's frowned upon. Yes, I can probably get under somebody's skin, but I have never raised my voice or cussed at an officer or anything like that. I get really nervous actually, and I try to be, very on point, but I also want to stand up for my civil rights.
All right,
Um,
hang on. Look, Jennifer. I'm a much bigger dick than you are. How have I never been arrested? Explain that.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, well, James,
I mean, anybody can be arrested.
yeah.
It just, and once it happens, once you're in the system, you're red flag is all.
This is so weird because when we were growing up, I was in detention all the time. I was in school suspension. I was getting days off, and she was a goody, never got in trouble.
Yeah.
James, you just said, so how come you've never been arrested? I think that's a bit of a red herring here because there are two avenues that we're talking about. Whether or not you've been arrested, okay, great. You've been lucky and you've not done anything that has gotten you arrested. But the other issue, the other avenue that I think she's speaking to is that once you are in the system, especially if you do not have the money, I can give you one quick story about somebody whose brother was homeless and he was on drugs and he had mental issues and he was taking the drugs to test. He was a broken person and he got a loitering charge. He was charged with loitering because some shop owner wanted the people gathering on the sidewalk out of there and he didn't leave or whatever it was. Again, he is someone who needs mental help and he was issued a ticket. Okay. So he never paid the ticket. He threw the ticket out. So then he got found again and, they didn't pay the ticket. So that's a mandatory 60 days in jail. And then the fines go up and the fines go up and the fines go up. And he ended up spending almost
time. If you get pulled over, they stop you again and run your license. They see that you've been arrested before.
This guy spent almost 3 years in Cook County Jail because he couldn't afford for loitering because he couldn't afford to pay the fines as they kept multiplying. The same single charge kept multiplying every 30 days that he didn't pay it off. I mean, come on. We've
And
got
over half of the inmates right now, and we're overcrowded, and over half of them have not even been convicted of anything. They haven't even seen the courtroom yet.
But that's exactly why I said he spent 3 years in county jail. That means he's
Oh,
never
gosh,
even
how
had his day.
miserable.
He's never had his day in court. He's never been
Right.
adjudicated because these fines kept mounting, and the system is broken.
All right,
We're
so check this out.
broken.
Look, when I talk about, is there something we can do? Is there something systemic we can do?
Yeah.
It sounds like one of the perverse incentives that's built into the system is that the county or whatever polity that is making the fine gets to keep the money of the fine. So they have an incentive to not only give out the fines, but have them increase exponentially.
Absolutely.
So how do we take
And
away that
please,
incentive?
when people are assigned an attorney, okay, that assigned attorney doesn't get paid unless the person that they're representing pleads out. If the person they are representing pleads, the pro bono attorney gets paid. And so they are more motivated to get a plea. And then they leave these people in here for so long that by the time they see court, they're going to plea out whatever. They're just ready to go home. Also the pretrial stuff. These people are paying $100 a month to be on pretrial, and the people that go in and out of there is every 15 minutes. I would estimate $3 million a week are being paid to the county, and I don't know where this is going.
That's what it's about. They are making money.
It's a
They are
business.
making lots of money off keeping people in jail.
Yes.
For multiplying charges. It's a real problem. It's not really talked about much, but
It's not. I think the awareness is the first step of changing it, James. Awareness.
And here's the thing about the awareness. There's not much awareness because most of us, me or James, I mean, if we were at our worst and we got a fine and we had to pay it, we could go to our parents, right, and say, look, can I borrow $200 and can you just help me with this ticket right now because I'm between jobs, or whatever the case is. But that's a luxury that we may take for granted. There are a lot of people out there whose parents
don't have anybody.
Right, whose parents are in worse cases than and they get caught up in the system.
So we got to steer that fine money. We got to take away the incentive for them to fine you. They don't get to keep the money. If all the money that people get fined, how about that money goes to like a food bank or something, and the police don't get any revenue from it? You know what would happen to the number of fines? You know what happened to the number of speeding tickets?
It would go down.
It wouldn't go down. It would disappear. They would cease finding you. Basically, period, point blank, end of story. If you're parked incorrectly in a handicap spot, they're not going to care about finding you. They can't find you, but they will tow your car. Fines will go away.
Here's another situation that happens in Chicago, where I'm from. So people who don't make a lot of money, maybe they're driving a shitty car. And in the state of Illinois, you have to every year pay like $200 to get a new sticker on your car, on your license plate every year. Okay. $200 every year. If you're a broke ass person living paycheck to paycheck, when that month rolls around where you got to get that new license plate sticker, you might not be able to afford it. So what happens? They got a job, they're going to their job, it's a shit job, and they get pulled over. And what happens? They lose their license. They can't get to their job. Now they don't have a job. Now they can't pay the fine. Now the fine starts to double and triple, and suddenly there's a warrant out for their arrest and they're in handcuffs. I mean,
all right. Everybody want to be ready to be a libertarian yet? Everybody ready to? Because I still got people wanting to adjudicate draws and abortions and all this stuff.
This might be your definition of libertarianism, but it ain't everybody else's, James.
Look, get rid of all these laws. Get rid of any victimless crime. Now we want cops to get involved with paper straws. You want to get the cops involved over that stuff? You want to get the cops involved over? I mean, forget all that.
Non-violent offenders, victimless crimes, and this whole war on drugs that started in the 80s. I mean, people need help. They don't need to be locked down and incarcerated in Smith County Jail where they're being, tormented, and have no kind of rehabilitation. At Smith County, you can't even get your GED there or do any kind of Al-Anon or AA class or anything. You are locked down 22 hours a day.
That's another big one too. Programs in the jail. Maybe that's where your fine money should go, for rehab programs in the jail.
That's not what they'll use it for.
Yeah. I don't believe in that stuff. I think recidivism rates prove that.
Comment for Jennifer there, Pugs.
Jennifer, where right here, it takes a couple of times for some of us to learn, but eventually you can learn to stay the hell out of trouble.
What answer does that?
Unless trouble follows you. I mean,
Right.
and I think it probably is very different for people who live in small towns who might get a reputation among a small town police force. And then suddenly, they're being targeted all the time. For me, I grew up in a big city, and I knew a lot of cops, cop family and whatnot, cop friend, all that kind of thing. So I don't know. Small
I get
town.
pulled over for my license plate light being too dim, or my light not being one of the times it said that my light was hanging a little bit. My license plate light was hanging a little bit. But when they saw me coming, they made a U-turn to come and pull me over. And so I don't know how they saw my license plate light. And of course, the county in Tyler, it was on 110 in White House. I was going to McDonald's there because they have 3 cookies for $1 instead of 2. Anyway, so I got pulled over and searched the dogs, everything else. There was probably 9 different SUVs out there. They had to let me go. I got a warning ticket after all of that. I got a warning ticket for my license plate light being too dim.
Listen. Look, there's some skeptical people in the comments who are basically voicing the opinion of, dude, 20 times. Certainly you're doing something wrong. You're not on drugs, or you're not doing theft, or no one's.
No, and I guess you don't know unless it happens to you, I mean, there's nobody know, because I mean, even some of my close friends, I've had a couple of friends of mine that have recently, gotten arrested. One of my friends, he actually had a burglar in his house. And he gets his gun. The burglar comes running out. They are in the front yard, and my friend has a gun on him. And he tells him to, he's circling him. I saw him on the video, and he tells him to strip all his clothes off. Instead of shooting him, he tells him to strip his clothes off and to start walking. My friend was arrested for burglary, because for armed robbery, because he had that guy take his clothes off. The man who had his house broken into.
None of that that doesn't pass the smell test.
It's legit. And that friend would never believe any of my stuff until that happened to him.
I can look. I just have a burning sensation in the back of my head that drugs are involved in some form or fashion, in some layer, in some phase, at least.
No.
Skeptical. I'm skeptical. You understand that, though, right?
You're skeptical, yeah. I mean, it's your right to be skeptical. But I mean, I don't have any drug charges. None of this had to do with drugs. None of the things that I've been in trouble for drugs.
Yeah,
Hell, the 3 charges that I
you're playing with the words. You're not a dumb person. You're playing with the words. I've never had drug charges. Yeah, that means you could have had it, but they didn't throw that in on the charges. Did they ever fine you and not charge you with it? Of course you wouldn't say that, because that would get you in trouble, and these people have it out for you.
No. The charges that I got in 2009 when I came back from getting my graduate degree, they came out of left field. And none of them, I mean, I wasn't even getting in trouble anyway. You got to understand, I went to go get my license renewed. And the woman at the DPS office, when I have not been in Texas in 7 years, told me to run. I had a warrant out for my arrest. And when I went to go turn myself in, they had a hard time finding the warrant.
When was the last time? What was the last time you've done a hard drug? And I don't mean alcohol or weed.
Hard drug?
Yeah.
Honestly, a couple years ago, probably.
Well, what is a hard drug? Help me out here.
Anything that's not marijuana is what he's saying.
Okay. So, I mean, have you done crack?
No, never.
Have you done meth?
I have before, yes.
Have you? Okay, I'm pretty much out. I mean, I'm a weed guy. I just like weed. So.
I mean, I've tried it. I've never been married or had kids or anything like that. So, but that's the strongest thing I've ever tried. I've never done needles. I've never done heroin or anything like that. But I have tried meth and mushrooms, and I think I've tried acid before. But
well, look, we've all dabbled, but we haven't.
Marijuana is my drug of choice.
That's like saying.
But I haven't done that in almost 2 years.
Because you're drug tested, I'm guessing.
Once a week.
Okay. All right. Well, that solves that problem.
So ridiculous.
Yeah. James, anything you want to do to wrap this up? Because we're running out of time here.
Man, that was a lot to catch up on, Jennifer. That's thanks
I know.
for being so open with your story. You got a lot going on there. But my life sounds so boring compared to yours.
Oh no, I don't think so. I would pick boring any day. And I hate to hear that you're skeptical, but I'm hoping that I'll be doing something to answer some more questions and hopefully bring it more into the
Well,
public awareness of what's going on.
Well, I appreciate you joining us today. This was
I appreciate y'all having me.
illuminating, and I hope you get your stuff straightened out. I wish there was something I could say in the way of anything we can do to help, but we can't help. We don't
we
know.
No,
what we can
no,
do.
I should probably change my name at some point.
Well, I don't.
It just has a ring to it though, Jennifer Jolly.
Yeah, that
just
is a
roll
good
with it
name.
at this point.
That is
Yeah.
a fun name. All right, thank you, Jennifer. Be well.
Thank y'all
Take care of
so much.
yourself.
Y'all be good.
Okay,
Bye,
there
y'all.
she goes. That's Jennifer, James's friend from high school, who was mentioned a while back on the show and popped back into James's life. All right, let's do the breakdown. So here's what I will say first and foremost, and I want to echo the sentiments of some of the people in the chat room. At some point, I started to feel sympathetic. I started to feel skeptical. I'm skeptical with you, of course. But I mean, on some level, at some point during her story, I just thought, man, this is a human being who's been through the ringer. And I don't know, I don't know why I would want to try and manufacture some, silliness or wackiness about that. That's a really sad story. Whether, skepticism aside, just those details are I don't know. It's just
Well, even with my skepticism, I don't think drugs should be illegal. I'm a libertarian. So I think any citizen who's been harassed for possession or being on drugs or selling drugs or, with the intent to distribute or the intent to smoke it or shove it up your veins, I think all of those people are being wrongly persecuted. And if most of them don't have a problem, they're not a harm to society. For the few that are a harm to society, what you're doing is not helping them. It's not solving the problem. I mean, removing them and putting them in jail, saves the rest of us from their negative consequences, but you're not fixing anything.
James, she said, and you would know this, she said in high school she was a straight A student and all that stuff. I mean, are you skeptical of a lot of the details or her side of the story on some of the stuff? Is she a doctor? I mean, is that something that you believe? That's an incredibly
I asked her
difficult
specifically
job.
PhD, and she said she had a what? A doctor
She said
of
she had a
science?
doctorate in psychology. That would make her a doctor of psychology. That would make her Dr. Jennifer. And most people who achieve that,
She said like a
they
master of science. She didn't say a doctorate. I don't think.
yes, she did. Yes,
Okay.
she absolutely did. Yes, she did. She said she went and she got her doctorate. And I thought, that's interesting. Because most people who have doctorates, at least in their professional field, they go by doctor.
But she's
And
not. See, that's what I came away from that conversation thinking, okay, you're not a doctor. You're whatever. You're some level between, like a master of business. This is like a master of science. Didn't she say a master of science?
no, she said a doctorate. She said she received a doctorate, not a master's. And it doesn't matter if it's a PhD. You still have to write a thesis. That is a very serious degree that is earned after years and years of hard work. That's why everyone doesn't have a but half of our friends have masters because, masters are just, you go to school for another couple of years after you graduate because you can't figure it out yet. And by the time you figure it out, you got a master's. I'm not impressed.
I don't think Leslie's a fan.
Absolutely. What's that?
Look at. I don't think Leslie's a fan. Hell no, not DR. No DR. There isn't a master of science. Boy, Leslie gets abrased.
Yeah. I don't know. She seems like a nice girl who is in a pretty bad situation. So, it was interesting though. I thought it was interesting hearing her story and her side of it.
Dude said University of Skunk Holler. Bug Tussle State. Yeah. That's where I'm from, baby. I'm telling you, the podcast is coming just with all the screwballs I went to school with.
Yeah. Well, she, I'll tell you this. She didn't sound like she was on drugs. She was articulating to a degree that I would not suspect from somebody who was, wired up. So, and then, if she's got all of these things hanging over her head, I have to believe that, there is some kind of drug testing. However, is drug testing come with everything, or is there a reason for them to have placed the drug testing thing on her? You know, like, do you get drug testing for just mayhem? And that sounds like what a lot of her charges were for, mayhem, just, you know, being difficult.
Yeah, well, look, she's not a dumb person, so she's choosing her words wisely. And she kept saying, I've never had a felony stick or whatever. I don't have any felonies on my record. Not I've never committed a felony. It's just he hadn't got any of them to stick.
Oh, yeah. No, I've never been caught.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've been involved in some. Look, I've been in a car where a dude then told me, "Oh yeah, I got 2 pounds of weed in the trunk." I'm like, "What? If we get pulled over, I'm going to jail, and ain't nobody gonna believe that I didn't know that you had 2 pounds of weed in your trunk." So yes, I think we've all been felony adjacent. It's just, you know, charges have never been brought.
So Leslie says she does sound like that she did drugs, but now she just does weed. Okay. And is Herschel Walker a doctor? That's what Joe Zarita says. I'm skeptical, Joe.
No, I think what he's saying is that Herschel Walker has probably claimed that he's a doctor.
Okay.
Since he claimed that he was valedictorian of his high school, even though it was well reported that he had difficulty reading when he went to Georgia, and then that he graduated in the top 1% of his class, when everybody knows he didn't even graduate. He jumped straight to the USFL.
USFL, right. He went to work for Donald Trump, strangely enough. Weird. Boy, small world.
All right. What is wrong? I cannot. I'm trying to get rid of it.
Jennifer's in here. Any questions? She's back. See her over there in the comments. Are you even looking?
No, because I'm having difficulty removing this Brady Morris thing. I can't find it.
Jennifer, are you a doctor? Are you a doctor? You see her there? Oh, you're still doing the.
Oh yeah, there she is. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we are out of time, James. Unless you want to continue this for a few more minutes, but I know you need to go make love to your wife, which is why we have to end this show.
That ship already sailed today.
She said yes. Yes, you asked her directly. She said yes. So she is Dr. Jennifer Jolly.
Oh yeah, she is. Well, why do you have to put the side E? Is it?
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what
that means. Dr. Jolly.
I don't know what that means, but just because I don't know what it means doesn't mean it's not true. There's a lot that I don't know what it means.
Yeah, I don't know military ranks. It's like you're a brigadier, admiral. I don't know.
I do. I'm actually pretty good at that. I can give you all the officer ranks in order.
What's the one that looks like broccoli?
Oh, not by the insignia. No, I couldn't tell by the insignia. All right, folks, that's going to do it here. Join me tomorrow for High Noon. High Noon, every day at noon. We go through all of the day's headlines, current events, trends. What are you looking at, James?
I'm looking at the explanation. It's not a doctor of psychology. It's a doctor of psychology, not a doctor of philosophy. So it's not a philosophical doctorate, a PhD.
That's
psychological doctorate. I don't know.
She's a doctor. She is a psychologist. Wait.
So you're a doctor?
I don't know. Look,
you're a massage therapist, is what she is.
Yeah, what kind?
Can we ask that one?
That's what I wanted to ask. Go ahead, you ask her that. Ask her that question, James.
All right. Would Deshaun Watson approve of your service?
And now we'll wait for that answer. By the way, I got nothing wrong with that either.
Oh no, please, libertarian, spank away.
John wants to know all about the massage aspects of her career these days. That's saying something about you, John boy. Nah. Yeah, no, I think that's all. I would like to be able to move those places out of the skeevy parts of town. I just think that is sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy when people, you always hear about these poor dudes who can't get laid, who go in for a little afternoon relief. And then we had a politician in Arizona. He got caught jerking it in his car by police in front of a daycare center.
Oh, not a daycare.
You know what his response to it was? I really messed up. Yep. But he's still on the ballot. He is doubling down. He is still running for office there in Arizona. God love him. Maricopa County's finest.
Yeah, and while you're at it, go listen to Florida Stories wherever you're already checking out podcasts. And if you're not already checking out podcasts, let me be your first, because you always remember your first, or something like that. I don't know. I'll work on that tagline. I'll work on that.
There's something there. And there he goes. That's James Parker. All right, thanks. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We do this show every Monday through Thursday evening, 9 o'clock. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk. That's what we call it. I also do High Noon. Join me for that at noon every day. And right here, same place. I don't know what I'm going to do now. Oh, I do know what I'm going to do. Oh, you know what? So, okay. So today, when I was, I had to go to the Freak. We had some meetings over there at the big iHeart building here off the tollway. And as I was driving back, after there, I was listening to Reiner's show, The Downbeat, afternoon on 97.1 The Freak. And they played this really fun game. And I wish James hadn't jumped off, because I wanted to tell him about this game because it was so simple and it was so interesting. And it wasn't really a game so much as it was a segment, but basically the premise was this. They asked Mike to come up with a list of his favorite TV shows that people wouldn't think he'd like, right? So not like the obvious ones, just like shows that, like, he really liked, that people would be shocked to learn that he liked, because Mike's got a reputation as, he's gruff and he's, that. I'll give you an example. Like, he started off with Ally McBeal, right? He loved Ally McBeal, and people were like, "What? You like that?" He's like, "I loved it." But the segment was, they would then take him and his favorite shows that people wouldn't think that he liked, and then they would go to, like, not IMDb, but like Rotten Tomatoes or something, and they would chart, like, if other people agree with him or not. And I'll be damned, almost every single show that he said that he liked was, like, heavily appreciated. And he gave me a couple of good suggestions. Like, reminded me that the show Oz still exists. I have not seen the show Oz in probably 25 years. So I think that's what I'm going to do when I sign off here. I think I'm going to watch season 1, episode 1 of the incredible HBO series Oz. So, see, that's what you get from listening to local radio. All right. I got nothing else. I'm going to be gone now. I'm going to go watch Oz. I'm going to go watch a depiction of prison, just so I can be reminded that it's a place that I never want to be. Bye, everybody.